Hi everyone, my name is Joshua Masongsong. I am the owner and the operator of a company called Believe High Fidelity. We're based here in the Austin, Texas area. And want to introduce myself and my room/lab that we're here today presenting. So I give you a bit of background on me. I've been an audiophile all my life. My family all had a pretty immense amount of musical talent, singing and creativity and all sorts of different skills that I did not have. I did try, but I was not successful, so I ended up getting more into the audiophile side of the house, more in listening and optimization of stereo systems. So that journey led me to become an enthusiast, of course. And ultimately, I opened up my first dealership in the state of Utah and really enjoyed all the different gear that I had a chance to represent. Naturally, I was more focused on the things that would bring me customers. And over the years, I learned that there's a lot better sounding equipment that exists throughout the world. So I went on a journey to find what was the best gear. During that time, I developed a pretty good reputation for optimizing systems and matching synergistic products together to create real hi-fi sound. So when the opportunity presented itself, I moved into a distribution model and brought a few brands to the United States, came to Austin, Texas, and formed Believe High Fidelity, which focuses on distribution, dealership across the US and Canada. So our company and its motto is just that. You know, we're all about making folks believe in high fidelity and understand the true nature of what their system can and should sound like. So that process naturally encompasses the room. It needs to be a homogeneous sound that makes whatever you put into it sound its best. Unfortunately, there's a lot to choose from. Just like there's a lot of equipment to choose from, there's a lot of product to choose from. So I would say about 3 or 4 years it took me to figure out who made the best stuff, why it was the best, and ultimately pass our sniff test in terms of being a part of our stable, because we pride ourselves in only carrying things that are the class leading products. So in my journeys, I found that a lot of acoustic products do in fact do something, but they're not what they're rated to do it at. They're not as effective as they claim, or they don't really show you the behind the scenes with regards to how the product is made, which could have a lot of resonating aspects to it, poor build quality and things of that nature. So in my journey, I eventually came across Acoustic Fields, and over the course of a number of discussions, decided that they were the right fit, and decided to proceed with them. So on that point, though, I would say that a lot of acousticians, a lot of people selling this product make a lot of claims, and they do make a lot of hoopla in terms of what their product can or can't do. And I've been in rooms where there was 100% room treatment, and all that treatment eventually got ripped out just because it did not do what it was supposed to do. So for my personal system, for this room, as I mentioned, it's not just my own personal listening room, but it is also a lab. I have speaker manufacturers come in here, bring their products in here to do testing, to do evaluation, and to make sure that what they are hearing is in fact accurate as they make progression to develop the speaker in a sense that highlights all the attributes that they want to meet. You know, we also do a lot of listening for recorded music. So in this room, we'll play music that was recorded live and we master it here. and make sure that what we're hearing is actually what was heard when we were there at the live venue. So naturally, as Believe High Fidelity is all about that ultimate performance objective, meeting that criteria means that you have to have the exceptional of everything. So most of our products, as you can see behind us, are pretty bespoke and very expensive. This room, with all of the room treatment and all the gear that's in here, is pretty much going close to anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million, depending on what's in here at the time. So what I'm looking for and what I expect in a product is exactly what the manufacturer says. I expect not just the product to work, but I expect the support and the knowledge base from that designer of the product to not only stand behind their product, which Dennis made it very clear he has a full refund policy that, to this date, as far as I'm aware, still has not been executed on. So that was a huge plus. And he also advised that there was a lot of things that I was under the impression of that were not in fact true. And he was able to prove that. And I've been absolutely blessed. I think that this set of products is exactly what he says it is. Number one. Number two is that he has the know-how to advise on what exactly needs to be done in order to get the most out of his products in terms of placement, in terms of the specific options that he has available. So in this particular room, we opted to go, because of its size, opted to go with predominantly absorption. It is a smaller room, not too small, but most rooms are about this size, and we have a lot of low frequency issues. So I'll start at the bottom and work my way up to the high frequency. So when it comes to bass, when you have bad bass, and we didn't have bad bass, but we had bad enough for definitely needing correction. There's two kind of stories I'd like to share on that subject. So the first story has to do with just the improvements, right? We want to get the bass improved. We want to be able to hear clear pitch, clear definition of that pressurization to know what's coming from what. That the changes that were made after having just the absorption panels in here, and there I believe is currently 15 in here today, and we have 9 of his ceiling panels as well, is that the amount of texturization to the bass, if that's even a thing. A lot of things I'm going to say are not normal, because there's products and then there's products, and this is the latter. So I'm able to hear things in this room, and I've quantified it at about 300% improvement. 100% on the bass, 100% in the mid-range and mid-bass, 100% in the high frequency improvement across the board. Is that the amount of definition to each of the instruments that plays in the low frequencies is incredible. There's no overhang, there's no boominess, there's no reverberation coming from the low frequency pressurization of this room. It is absolutely clean. It is absolutely tight. It has weight to it, but in such a way that it is almost revelatory of what is possible from low frequency production. And of course, you can't accomplish that with panels that are, insy beatsy, or building massive Helmholtz resonators to accomplish that same effect that you can have with just throwing in some pretty large panels that have his carbon technology into it. So the other aspect of it was the testing, because we do run lots of tests in the labs. So in this room right now, we actually are using almost 30-year-old SVS subs. It's a cylindrical subwoofer that's ported on the top, 112-inch driver. And when you stand within the room boundaries, it sounds like bass like you've never heard before. When you stand outside of the room boundaries, as in you go outside of this enclosed space into other elements, because this this breaks out into, a kitchen area and another room area, you'll notice that the reverberation is insane. I mean, the amount of absorption that's happening within that low frequency, both in the room and out of the room, is night and day. It's a pure A/B experiment where you can stay in the room and listen, and everything sounds completely in sync with the speakers, and the bass is just absolutely crisp and accurate and engaging. You stand outside of the room and it sounds horrible. It sounds as though you got, some pro audio speaker that is just designed to produce bass to thousands of people at a concert venue. And that ultimately tells you something pretty substantial, which is that if your room doesn't have the proper acoustic treatment and it's not optimized for the equipment that you're putting into it, the bass could be not related to the product that you're putting in. The product could be doing its job, but it's doing it in such a way that it's affecting the room, and then the room is just smearing it and making it unlistenable or just less than desirable. And so the fact that I can push, down to 15 hertz in this room and not hear any sort of just resonating, wall shaking, just undesirable effects from the bass modules, and I can just hear the music, is incredible. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And a lot of people are floored by just having that simple experiment done, by walking within a few feet and hearing how much of a difference this room and these panels make. Going into the mid-range and kind of that overall effect as well of having these absorption panels in here is one track I really love. It's by Harry Connick Jr. It's called Heart Beyond Repair. Doesn't really have a lot going for it. It's pretty much quiet with a little bit of melody, and then he just sings on occasion out of a black background. And you'll notice that with the absorption and how quiet the room is, which isn't to say dead. I want to make that very clear. I've been in a lot of rooms that have a lot of absorption, but the room sounds completely dead. This is just quiet. It's just pitch black in the background, but when the speaker produces the music, it is more like an explosion of sound. It just comes out, and it's so effervescent. Sorry if I use a lot of terminology that doesn't exactly align to a specific audio description, but it's a very emotional experience. And so effervescent and explosive, the music just coming out of this black background, it's so emotional. And so you're engaged, you're pulled in immediately within the first two tracks. I mean, the first 2 seconds of playing a track, you're sucked in. It's like you're hooked immediately. So that's kind of the idea, is that if the product is doing something right, it sucks you right in. And so we have two quadratic diffusers. I'm a big fan of using prime, and so is Dennis. So I've used numbers that are not prime. I've used some custom diffuser designs in the past. It was what used to be on this front wall, and I got good results, but nothing at all like this combo panel that Dennis sells, that incorporates absorption and diffusion. It's his QDA product, and that product alone, just incorporating the diffusion into the front wall, we're talking about moving from a 2-dimensional space to what feels like a 4-dimensional space, because you can hear 3D in a really good system with really good equipment, really good speakers, but there's 3D and then there's 3D, and this feels more like a 4D because in some tracks it feels like it's in your head. It's that crazy of an effect that having a fully custom built room with all these panels in here working together in a homogeneous way gives you that purity of sound, that direct sound that you're looking for without any room coloration whatsoever. So that experience alone of adding the two panels, everything gets, it's like, going from a 480p television to a 4K or even an 8K, I should say, television. I imagine if I had more diffusion in here, it would be more like an 8K or a 12K TV, because the amount of information that you never knew existed in the mid-range before. Background music that stands out so clear as the person that's singing or the main instruments that are playing. It's nuts. It lets you know that you're getting the full information of what's on the recording. So if you want to know if your track is mastered well, this is a perfect room to do it in, because it will tell you everything. It really makes everything sharper. To ultra crispiness is what I think the term that I told Dennis. It's just so crisp and so clear that it's absolutely revealing of every single part of the instrument, the texture, the feel of the fingers strumming a guitar, or the notes and the chords coming off of a cello. I mean, you get every little drop that there is to be had within that mid-range where most of the music actually lives. Moving into the high frequency, I would say that a story would be about things that are bad. We'll start with the bad. So in the high frequency area, listening to certain speakers, certain driver combinations, you'll notice that in a live room, maybe the designer designed that speaker to be in a live room. And that's not a bad thing, because most rooms are pretty untreated, pretty live. And it sounded fine developing it. But when you put it into a room where you don't use that room gain and you hear just the speaker on its own, you realize that, well, this tweeter's pretty hot. And a few of them were. And some of them, the crossover was very poorly implemented, and it was very rolled off on the top end, because it didn't have that brightness, that additional reflection from the wall to kind of make you feel like the speaker was actually performing really well on the top end and giving you a lot of that ambience and space. It was more of the room. It was giving you the ambience and space. So, room lies are abundant, and we want to know what the product is doing. And if a speaker manufacturer wants to know that they're on the right track, well, you got to know what the speaker is actually doing. And in this case, there's been a number of tests that showed a lot of shortcomings in the high frequency, especially a lot of rolled off, a lot of time alignment issues, or just resonance from the driver that break up at a certain frequency that you wouldn't have experienced before. And so this kind of information is invaluable if you're making changes or you're developing something to make sure you're doing it right. So that way it gives you exactly what it's designed to do. But just the amount of information that you're getting with this setup, with all these panels perfectly organized in a way to get you the most out of the sound, is I would say exemplified by classical music. I enjoy classical music. I love large dynamic swings. When you are listening to at kind of a hall type of level where you want to kind of get that feeling as though you're there, and maybe push your speaker a little bit further past its comfort zone, a lot of them fall flat. A lot of them fall really, really, really flat. They give you just this unbelievable roll off and just flatness on the top end that sounds like the speaker just died. It has no life. It's not engaging. There's no separation of linearity within the instruments as they play. It just sounds like one big note coming across all the instruments when it's a poorly designed product. And so a lot of them don't pass that sniff test. They don't get to that point, but some of them do. And the ability to get that full experience of immersion being there is truly something extraordinary, because that's one thing that's very hard to reproduce on a home audio system is classical music. And in this room, with these products and this system and the ability to produce that, and not only produce it, but get it in such an abundance where you feel beyond that concert hall level. You feel as though the concert hall is empty and devoid of all people. It's just you. And you're getting every single note, you're getting every single instrument, texturization, layering, and on top of that, you're getting the dynamics without any of the drawbacks, provided again that the system can do it. And it's a breathtaking. People that are not interested in classical come into this room are interested in classical, because it takes a really great system to reproduce classical music. And so, in a nutshell, I'm over the moon. I am over the moon. I am so glad I was very patient and took my time in really understanding each designer's strategy of how they do it, why they do it, look at the products that they're selling. It's a big thing for me. We have a brand, and that brand is very much known for selecting the top 1% of products that are out there today, or just products that are very much high price to performance that it's hard to get, so you're saving a lot of money to get that same performance. So people trust us and they trust our recommendations, so very, very, different type of experience and relationship that I have with my clients, because, they want me to guide them and lead them. And that's what I'm known for. So, I would say that, if you are interested in something like this, you don't even have to think. You don't even have to give much any sort of credence or thought. You probably will, you're studious, you're wanting to do your due diligence like I did. But honestly, from my own personal experience and my own testimony on this is that, heartbeat, instant, it all makes sense. He does everything in such a way that I have yet to see a lot of acousticians do, and I'm beyond happy with the results. I have a client that has invested almost $500,000 of this product to build a custom room, and I look forward to sharing that with you when that time comes. So, Dennis, thanks again, and I hope this video for the folks that are watching was helpful for you.
Thank you for watching this video, and if you liked it, please give us a thumbs up. We also have a newsletter that you can subscribe to, so please do that, because we offer special price discounts to only those on our newsletter. And then don't forget about our forum. We have started a forum on our own website where people ask questions, and I usually get a chance every couple of days to look at it. There's an interchange between people on the forum, and we'll give you real answers on a regular basis, so that'll help you. Thank you.